Why is it that so many men spend their lives chasing women only to watch them slowly lose interest and drift away? You've probably felt it yourself. You meet someone incredible, the chemistry is electric, and suddenly she's all you can think about. You're texting her constantly, planning thoughtful dates, and putting in effort like never before. It feels exciting, maybe even like something real. But then, almost without warning, something shifts. She starts responding more slowly. Her enthusiasm begins to fade. The conversations become shorter, less warm, and now, instead of things feeling mutual, you find yourself doing more and getting less. You're stuck in your head, checking your phone every few minutes, wondering what happened and what you can do to fix it. It's frustrating, confusing. You care, so you try harder, but the more you push, the further she seems to pull away. Here's the hard truth. What feels like affection and commitment to you can often feel like pressure and neediness to her. You think you're showing her how much you care. She feels overwhelmed. And here's the painful irony. The harder you chase, the faster she runs. But what if the answer isn't to do more, but less? What if the solution to keeping her interest isn't to chase harder, but to stop chasing altogether? This isn't about playing games or using clever tactics. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about changing something far more important, the way you see yourself. When you chase someone endlessly, you're sending a silent message. Your attention is worth more than my self-respect. Your approval means more than my peace. And that creates a dynamic where you're always reaching and she's always retreating. To change that, you don't need to act colder. You need to become stronger within yourself. When you stop chasing and start focusing on your own confidence, passions, and purpose, you naturally become more attractive. Not because you're trying to, but because you're living a life that doesn't revolve around anyone else's attention. That's what really makes someone lean in, not desperation, not effort, but presence, purpose, and self-worth. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. When you chase someone, whether you realize it or not, you're sending a message, and it's more powerful than any words you could say. With every action, every overextension, every attempt to win her over, you're silently communicating. You matter more than I do. Your attention, your approval, your affection, it's worth more than my peace of mind. You're not just expressing interest, you're placing her on a pedestal. And the moment you do that, the dynamic shifts. This creates an immediate imbalance, and relationships built on imbalance rarely thrive. They might start with excitement, even intensity, but they don't last, not in a healthy, meaningful way. Think back to a time when someone clearly chased you. Maybe it felt flattering at first. You liked the attention, the compliments, the eagerness, but over time, didn't it start to feel a little uncomfortable? A little heavy? There's something unsettling about being put too high up on a pedestal. It stops feeling like admiration and starts feeling like pressure. We may not like to admit it, but deep down, we don't fully value what we don't have to earn. It's human nature. We're drawn to what challenges us, to what feels rare, to what respects itself enough to not beg for our time. And this is the trap of the chase. The more you pursue, the more you try to prove your worth through effort, the less valuable you begin to appear. And the less valuable you seem in her eyes, the less attraction she feels. That loss of attraction makes you chase even harder, thinking that more effort will reignite the spark, and the cycle spirals until the connection eventually dissolves. This chase isn't really about her, it's about something deeper. Most men who chase women obsessively are actually chasing a feeling, the feeling of being wanted, of being chosen, of being enough. And while that's completely human and understandable, it's also dangerous because no relationship, no matter how strong, can fill a void inside you. No woman can give you self-worth. That's something only you can build from the inside out. This was the shift that changed my life. When I stopped searching for validation from others and started giving it to myself, that's when everything changed. When your confidence comes from within, when it's rooted in who you are rather than who you're with, you become steady. You stop reacting to every text, every signal, every shift in someone else's mood. You stop living in emotional chaos. You become grounded. And ironically, that's when you become truly attractive. Think of the most magnetic people you know, the ones others naturally gravitate toward. They're not the ones chasing, proving, or trying too hard. They're the ones who seem at ease with themselves. They don't need constant reassurance. They're driven by purpose. They're passionate about their lives. They show up with confidence, whether single, dating, or in a relationship. Let that sink in for a moment. The very thing you believe will make her love you, constant pursuit, constant attention, constant effort, is the very thing pushing her away. And the thing that feels counterintuitive, taking a step back, focusing on yourself, letting her come to you, is actually what draws her closer. So how do you shift the dynamic? How do you become the kind of man who doesn't need to chase because women are naturally drawn to him? It starts with a new foundation, a new mindset, and it's built on 3 core principles, the 3 pillars of attraction. Pillar 1, building a life you love. Let's start here, because this is the foundation. Contrary to what you might think, the most attractive quality a man can embody isn't his physical appearance, his bank account, or his social media highlight reel. It's his genuine enthusiasm for his own life. A man who wakes up with purpose, who is pursuing goals that excite him, who is engaged in his growth, curious about the world, and connected to something bigger than just getting the girl. That's a man people gravitate toward. That's someone with energy, with pull. Ask yourself, if you weren't trying to date anyone right now, what would you be focused on? What passions would you rekindle? What skills would you finally learn? What dreams have you quietly set aside, waiting for the right moment or the right person? This is your invitation to stop waiting. Start now. Pick up that camera again. Learn the language. Travel. Hit the gym. Build something. Connect with friends. Volunteer. Dive into the things that light you up. Not for applause, not for attention, but because this is your life and it's too short to live passively. What happens when you start doing this? You create a natural sense of fulfillment. And fulfillment is magnetic. Not only does it make you happier, more confident, and more grounded, it shifts your energy. You're no longer chasing connection out of emptiness. Instead, you're living from a place of wholeness, and that's incredibly attractive. When you're passionate about your life, you're not asking someone to complete you. You're inviting them into something meaningful that already exists, and that difference changes everything. A man who loves his life doesn't beg to be part of someone else's. He creates something so rich and meaningful that others want to be part of it. That kind of self-contained joy, that inner fire, that's what draws people in without you needing to chase them. Pillar 2, establishing healthy boundaries. If building a life you love is about creating a strong foundation, then establishing boundaries is about protecting it. This is where many men fall short, not because they're weak, but because they confuse kindness with compliance and connection with self-sacrifice. The truth is, you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate, and if you don't have clear boundaries, you'll find yourself over-giving, over-accommodating, and constantly bending just to keep someone interested. That's not love. That's fear disguised as effort. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They don't shut people out. They simply define what's allowed in your life and what's not. They're a declaration of your self-worth. When you have strong boundaries, you're saying, I respect myself too much to allow behavior that disrespects me. And that quiet self-respect speaks volumes. Let's be real. Most men who end up chasing women are really just chasing approval. That's why they tolerate last-minute cancellations, slow replies, mixed signals, disrespectful communication, because deep down they fear that if they speak up or walk away, they'll lose the connection. But here's the paradox. The moment you stop fearing that loss, the moment you hold your standards high and stick to them, you instantly become more attractive. Why? Because you're no longer available at any cost. You're no longer trying to earn someone's attention. You're standing in your value and letting others rise to meet it. For example, if she cancels plans last minute without a valid reason, don't get angry, but don't immediately reschedule either. Let her take the initiative next time. If she's inconsistent with communication, don't double text or sit around waiting. Match her effort, not to play games, but because your time and energy are valuable and you won't invest them in someone who treats them casually. Strong boundaries don't make you cold. They make you clear. They show that while you may want someone in your life, you don't need them to validate it. And ironically, this clarity creates emotional safety. Women don't respect men they can walk all over. They respect men who calmly and confidently stand their ground. The kind of man who knows what he wants, knows what he won't accept, and doesn't waver just to win someone over. Boundaries also make space for real connection. When you no longer feel the need to tolerate poor behavior for the sake of keeping someone close, you create room for mutual respect. You stop performing and start being. And when you're authentic, people who are right for you will feel it and rise to meet you. So ask yourself, where in your life have you been tolerating less than you deserve? Where have you stayed silent just to keep the peace? Where have you given more than you were receiving? Those are the places your boundaries need to grow. And when they do, you grow with them, not into someone harder, but into someone stronger. Pillar 3, mastering the art of presence. If there's one quality that separates truly magnetic men from the rest, it's presence. Not surface level attention, not just being around, but deep, intentional presence. In a world that's constantly rushing, scrolling, and distracted, presence has become a rare and powerful gift. And like anything rare, it holds immense value. True presence means being all in, fully engaged, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. When you're with her, really be with her. Put your phone away, quiet the mental noise, stop thinking about what you're going to say next or how you're coming across. Look her in the eyes, listen not to reply, but to actually hear. Ask thoughtful questions that show you're interested in her, not just how she makes you feel or what she can give you. Let her feel seen, truly seen in your presence. Because when a woman feels seen, heard, and valued without expectation, that experience leaves an impression. But presence isn't only about what you do when you're together. It's also about how you carry yourself when you're not with her. Most men who chase struggle here. They're always available, always texting first, always waiting for her to respond, checking in, reaching out, trying to maintain a constant connection. But true presence in your own life creates something far more powerful: space. When you are genuinely engaged in your own world, your work, your passions, your relationships, your growth, you create a natural sense of balance. You're not glued to your phone because you're too busy living. And that creates healthy emotional distance, not as a tactic, but as a natural byproduct of having a full, vibrant life. That distance builds tension, and tension is the fuel of attraction. Let's be honest. What do we tend to value more? Things that are constantly within arm's reach, or things that require intention to access? We crave what isn't guaranteed. We desire what has depth. That's why presence is so magnetic. It's not just about attention, it's about energy. A man who knows how to be still, grounded, and completely engaged, whether he's alone or with someone, radiates calm confidence. He doesn't chase because he doesn't need to. He's already whole. And when you combine all three pillars, building a life you love, establishing strong boundaries, and mastering presence, you stop playing the game entirely. You shift from chasing to attracting, from needing to choosing, from seeking approval to offering connection. Women will feel the difference. They'll notice the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you're not rushing to fill silence or prove your worth. You're no longer trying to earn attention. You are attention. And that energy, centered, focused, present, is the kind of energy that not only draws people in, but inspires them to stay. So ask yourself this: are you fully present in your own life? Or are you constantly pulled outward, chasing someone else's approval, seeking validation from someone else's presence? Because the moment you turn inward and root yourself in your life, your mission, your values, that's the moment you become the kind of man who doesn't have to chase anyone. He simply lives and others follow. And this is where everything changes, where the chase finally reverses. When a woman meets a man who doesn't seek her approval, but genuinely enjoys her company. A man who knows what he stands for, who sets clear boundaries with calm confidence, who is fully present when he's with her, but equally present in his own purpose when he's not. That's when she experiences something most men never offer: real, grounded, masculine energy. She feels something rare. She feels respected, not just because you treat her well, but because you respect yourself. She senses security, not through control or intensity, but through the stability of your boundaries. She feels desire, not the clingy neediness that comes from a place of emptiness, but the magnetic draw of a man who's full on his own and simply choosing to share that fullness with her. This is what makes a woman chase. Not games, not manipulation, not calculated indifference, but the authentic, lived expression of a man who knows his worth and lives like it. So where do you go from here? It starts with radical honesty. Look at your life, not through the lens of how others perceive you, but through your own truth. Are you truly fulfilled? Do your daily choices reflect your higher standards? Are you building a life that excites you? Are you creating, growing, exploring? Or are you waiting for someone to validate you, save you, or make life feel meaningful? Then take the next step, action. Not a massive overnight transformation, just one shift. Maybe it's getting back to a passion you've let die. Maybe it's refusing to respond immediately to a text, not out of spite, but because you're focused. Maybe it's putting your phone down when you're out with your friends. Maybe it's finally saying no to behavior that doesn't align with your values. These small steps are where everything begins to shift. They build momentum. And that momentum rewires not only how women perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. Because the truth is, the moment you stop chasing her and start choosing you, the energy changes, the dynamic flips. Suddenly, you're not seeking permission to matter in someone else's world. You're creating a world so full, so alive, so grounded that she wants to be part of it. Not because you need her, but because there's space for her to want to join. This isn't always easy. Growth never is. There will be moments where the old habits pull at you, where the silence feels uncomfortable, where the urge to chase resurfaces. But stay the course, because what you're building now isn't just attraction, it's a foundation for the kind of connection you've always wanted. In the end, what you truly desire isn't just a woman who chases you, it's a relationship that's built on mutual respect, inspired desire, and sovereign choice. That doesn't come from trying harder, it comes from being better, not for her, but for yourself. So stop chasing, start building, show up for yourself first, and let the world, let her respond to that. Be the man who doesn't need to be chosen to feel whole. Be the man who chooses himself day after day. And when you do, she won't just chase, she'll choose, freely, fully, and with the same certainty you've begun to show yourself. The chase is over. The real journey starts now. Are you ready to become him? Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If this message resonated with you or gave you something to think about, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. I've got more real talk, growth, and power coming your way, so stay tuned. Also, I offer limited one-on-one coaching for anyone struggling with girls. If that's you, feel free to reach out. We can work through it together and get you results. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.